Okay, so tonight, obviously, this is our last Zoom session. We will be talking about the final exam study guide that I posted earlier in the week. And then next week is the week of Thanksgiving. So next Tuesday is independent group work time for your group members to work together on checkpoint 4. And then obviously we have no class because Thursday is Thanksgiving. And then the week after, December 1st and December 3rd, is independent time to view your classmates' presentations. And then the week prior to final week, or the week of finals, December 8th, I will have Zoom office hours. If you have questions about anything regarding to the end of our course or final exam, you can pop into that and ask me those questions. And then the final exam will open someday the week of the 8th. And then by the 10th of December, all of your course assignments will be due. Does anyone have any questions about the end of our course?
I was curious, what is the exact due date for the presentations? Because it's not on here.
Yes. I believe we said the due date for the presentations, the pre-recorded, was going to be by November 29th. So Sunday, November 29th. So then I have the 30th and then that time to get those up and up onto our Brightspace page for everyone to view. So we will say by November 29th, please have your presentations sent to me. And then I will post that as well in our course as an announcement.
Okay, so I'm so behind. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so we actually are using that 12.1 and 12.3 to watch those on our own because they're pre-recorded. Okay, yeah. I think I missed that somewhere, so makes total sense. I was thinking that we were going to use that class time to actually present to each other like live. So makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a preference as to how we make our presentations? Is Google Meet okay? Because I'm not really familiar with Zoom. Can you can work with Google Meets then if we do a recording on that? Okay.
Yep, if you record it on a Google Meet, and then if you want to send me a video file, if you guys want to upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, you can send me a link like that. Would it be helpful if I made some like screen recordings walking through of how to upload videos on YouTube for anyone?
Maybe, because I'm not sure how to do that. I know like a Google Meet is really easy because it just saves as a Google file. And if I shared it with you, you would it would be just like me sharing like a Google document or a Google slide or something. So it would just be a Google Meet video.
Yes, that would be perfect.
That would work okay without having to do the YouTube thing?
Yep, that'd be perfect.
Okay, sorry, I'm an old lady. I don't
know. Okay, no.
Thanks.
Yep.
And then just for clarification, just I wanted to double check, it is acceptable to use an audio file as opposed to a video file for our presentations if we put that on a PowerPoint?
Yep, that is perfect too.
Is there I'm sorry, is there a rubric somewhere that what we have to talk about on this presentation?
I do not have a rubric right now. I can get you one if that would be helpful.
Maybe just a guideline as to what you guys or what you would like us to focus on. I know, we're going to be talking about our student, but like just pinpoint some things that you would like us to focus on, and maybe how long does this presentation, or how long would you like the presentation to be?
Well, if every member of your group is talking about their lesson plan that they produced, I would assume each member would only take 5 minutes. So if you had a group of 3, 15 minutes or no more.
So that's all we're really talking about is the lesson plan. We're not really talking about the profile of the student.
Correct.
Obviously it'll probably come up in the lesson plan, like why we do the things that we did. Okay. That clarifies a lot. Thank you.
Yes. So I will make kind of like a expectation of what is to be included or what I'm looking for in your presentations. And then I'll make sure I upload that relatively soon so it's available for you all as you begin working on your Checkpoint 4 presentations. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Well, I kind of question, like, with our group, like, so are we supposed to post that all on one thing, or to post, like, I don't know, how do you want us to post it?
So as a group, you guys can work together, and Allison was saying that her group is intending to just do like a screen recording of a Google Meet so that they can all speak and share their part, and then they were going to send it to me as a Google Drive file. So however you create your presentation, just send it to me as a file, whether it's like a video file, or if you're doing a recorded PowerPoint, you can send that to me, and then I'll be the one uploading it to Brightspace. But if your whole group is not going to create, if you cannot create one video or one presentation as a group, then you can, each individual members, send me your individual file of your presentation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just don't want this to be more stress on you guys. I want to make this as easy as I can for you all.
Cool.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to head to our study guide. This is posted on Brightspace under course information under final resources. It's very similar to our midterm study guide that I had posted. At the top, I included the question breakdown of what the final exam will look like. It's going to be 23 questions in all. 17 of them will be multiple choice, and 6 will be short answer. Again, the short answer questions are questions where you can answer in one sentence, maybe 2 sentences, but they're not going to be like, give me a paragraph answer. They're some short written answers. I've kind of tried to add a little more detail to the question, to the bullet points I have for these topics, because there's a large gap between today and when the exam will open in December. So I wanted to give you guys as much information to have right now and to have as you continue to work on preparing for the exam. I'm going to go ahead and go through the top section of bullet points right up here, because these are kind of a little more like sporadic topics, and I wanted to hit on them. So something I do when I'm preparing your exam questions is I look at sample questions from state tests, state licensure tests for special educators, and then I pull questions that are connected to topics that we're talking about in our class, because I want you to have exposure to the types of questions that you might be seeing on an OAE or one of your licensure tests. So that's why there's some kind of like random topics that we didn't really hit closely on, but I want you to have the background so that you can get these questions correctly and you just have exposure to the question type. So the first bullet point is about integrating social skills into our general education curriculum. And we talked a lot about using peer-to-peer supports. Research tells us that peer-to-peer supports and peer-to-peer tutoring can be a very effective way to—
Sorry to
I can't see your screen.
yeah, we can't see your screen.
Oh my goodness. Thank
We
you
can still
for—
see like the school course schedule.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. So research tells us peer-to-peer supports are great for teaching academics. They're also great for helping build social skills for our students who need social skill support. Next bullet point is on drill and practice software. We talked a lot about ways to academically support our students with special needs, but we didn't really touch a lot on drill and practice software. But you've probably had exposure to this. These are things like anything on the computer that is like drill and practice, maybe math facts cards, sight word games. It's like constant, quick practice for students to learn and get their new information. And the benefit of these types of softwares are that it gives your student immediate feedback. So instead of answering like 20 questions on a worksheet and then you grading it and then giving it to them the next day, a drill and practice software is great because it can give a student immediate feedback in the moment. And that is really beneficial for when our students are acquiring new knowledge. We talked about teaching communication skills, teaching the ability to build friendships and relationships. And when we're supporting students who have communication needs, we want to make sure that we are providing just the right amount of support, as specialized as necessary. We don't want to overdo on supports, and we don't want to assume where students are. We want to meet them where they are and make sure that we are taking into consideration their strengths and that we are providing them the types of supports that they need for their communication. Rewarding student behavior. If we are teaching a student a replacement behavior, or we're trying to get them to perform some positive behaviors, we want to make sure that we're rewarding them in things that they like and things that are interesting to them. I have a new student that has been transitioning into my classroom, and I have a prize box that is see-through. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, because I had this orange toy robot in there, and every single day the student has just gone and like crouched and looked in this box. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And my aide has been out all week because of COVID stuff. So I've been alone all week. So I've really just been trying to survive. So today he said, I really want this orange robot. I said, okay, if you work really, really hard today, you can get that orange robot. And that is all he talked about today. And then he's at the end of the day, he's like, I get my orange robot. And I was like, yeah, buddy, you can have your orange robot. And he was the happiest kid. And you know what? I was rewarding his good behavior today. It made my life a little bit easier. That's just a funny story from today. And looking back at it, I think that it was so funny. But when we want our students to perform specific behaviors, they're going to do it for things that they like. And that student just really wanted that silly orange robot toy all day long. Thinking about adaptive skills. These are skills that are things that we would use for living in our home, any type of functional academics. So that means like your ability to do things at school, not necessarily your ability to do academics. So functional academics would be like, can I sit in the classroom? Can I be a part of a discussion? Can I raise my hand? Can I write in class? Those are different types of functional academics. And then communication is an adaptive skill as well. Functional curriculum is curriculum that focuses on any type of functional skills that you would need Again, functional being living, successfully getting through life. So functional skill might be communication. It might be using a restroom, getting around places. Differentiated instruction. We didn't really talk about this, but when we differentiate instruction, we make it perfect or just right for students' needs. So in your classroom, there might be students that can do this type of work at this level, but there might be other students where you need to take it down a level. They're doing a different type of assignment. Maybe they're reading a different type of text. So the question that's going to ask you about differentiating instruction is going to ask you about different formats of assessments. So let's say in your classroom, you worked with an inclusive setting and you all studied robots or something. So everyone studied robots, and then when it came time for the summative assessment at the end of the unit, you could have some students take a multiple choice test. You could have some students give a presentation, or you could have some students make a song about what they learned. Those different types of options or different formats of assessment are an example of differentiated instruction. The last one that I really wanted to touch on is low-tech assistive technology. We talked about assistive technology. Low-tech assistive technology is anything that is low-tech, meaning it's more available to everyone. So that could be something like a pencil grip is low-tech, headphones, a screen reader is pretty low-tech. The question example is going to ask you about a page turner. And what this is it's some device or someone who can turn a page for a student. So that question is going to be page turner is an example of a lowest tech assistive technology that can help a student who might have some mobility issues that can help them access the curriculum. So I am looking through the rest of these bullet points, and I'm kind of, I'm just going to open it up. If anyone has any questions they want to ask, any ones we want to go over.
Wait, one quick question. Will like a low tech be like one of those like screen readers, like one of those like clear like clear like sheets but have like lines on them?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Is that a
Yeah.
low tech? Okay.
Yeah. I was also thinking of like the online readers on computers where you can highlight text and it'll read to you. I know that my students' computers, that comes as an app like automatically loaded to their computers now, which is really cool. All right, questions?
Under the enrichment activities, sorry.
Oh.
Under the enrichment activities, what exactly were you referring to for that one?
Enrichment activities. What was I referring to? Gina, was that you who asked or was that Allison?
That was Gina.
Gina, enrichment activities. Give me 1 second. Let me stop my share screen so I can check what exactly I was talking about, because I want to make sure that you all have good information. Okay, I got it. Enrichment activities are the type of activities that we can offer our students to enrich the general education curriculum. So if we are providing additional exposure to curriculum, exposure to activities, different things like that. I wouldn't stress too much about the question.
Thank you.
Is that okay, Gina?
Yeah.
Okay. Allison, did you have a question?
I did. So it wasn't about the exam. It was back about the presentations.
Mhm.
When we watch the presentations, are we going to have to do like a discussion or feedback or something like that?
Yep, there's going to be some type of either like a discussion or feedback, something like that. So you'll be interacting with every group's presentation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
I had a question regarding the virtual field experience.
Mhm.
I forgot to write down the first date we started this, so I wanted to check with you to see when the first date was and what was like the total amount of experiences we needed to have.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen again so I can pull this up.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I know it's on, I'm pretty sure it's on Brightspace.
I think it's at the bottom of the first like document under the toolbox tab.
Mhm. Yes, you're right. So it is the first week we started it was the week of September 28th. So 9/28. And I was expecting you to do 1, 2, at least 9 weeks of experience with at least an hour per week. So about 9 hours.
Alrighty, thank you both so much for that help.
Mhm. Any other questions about anything, exam or?
Yeah, I do. So that virtual experience we had talked about, I gave you a book that I was reading, but I've also attended, I mean, probably about 15 or 20 IEP meetings and 504s. So can I list those as well along with the chapters of the book? So kind of like in between.
Yeah, Allison, that's perfect.
Okay, and then when we do, so what do you exactly do you want me to put on the form for attending an IEP meeting?
I would include, probably the day you went, and maybe anything like important that arised. If it was, just discuss how the meeting ran. Did it run smoothly? Who all came? But you don't have to include any like student specific or like case specific, none of that information.
Okay, yeah, because we had one like without mom, like kid got up
Mhm.
really early at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and he was there and he was like, well, my mom's still sleeping and she's not going to come. And I thought, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Honestly, he conducted his own IEP meeting. He's one of my best students. So
Oh.
anyway, so that would be appropriate. So maybe like for 1 week, I'll just list all of them, or maybe two, I don't know. Would it be okay if since I went to so many, like do like 2 weeks worth or 2 hours worth?
Yeah.
Each one was really about a half hour, 45 minutes. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, okay.
That's perfect.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That helps me a lot too. So I
Of course,
appreciate it.
Allison. Yeah, of course. Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So this is also something we're talking about in my other classes, and I'm like kind of confused about it. The consequent strategy for reinforcement.
Yes. Let me pull up. I had pulled up this exact question prior to our class because I wanted to be sure I got this right. So a consequent strategy, specifically for our exam, the question is going to ask you about a first then support. So we looked at a couple examples of different types of visuals of this. So a first then support is a support where we say, okay, first you'll do this, then you'll do this. So it's a consequence strategy because the consequence is what comes after the action. And we're getting students to realize that, okay, first we got to do this, and the consequence is I get to play with toys. So an example might be, okay, Anthony, first you're going to do your math. And once you get all of your math questions done, then you get 5 minutes to play with your toys. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for this class, yeah, I was just trying to like puzzle, like put it all together, and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I might ask you more about that after class.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I kind of like how we, because I know we covered that, but I don't know what part I should be really, I don't know.
Could you just ask your question again? I cut out a little bit at the beginning.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Like we covered like the transitions part, like when they're transitioning and stuff for like into the real world. Like, what part do you want us to like know about that for the exam and stuff?
Let me pull up check the bullet point. Using transition to focus on community-based instruction.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull up our test. Okay, so we talked about some guidelines of how to plan instruction to enhance skills for the home and community. So some of these include things like making sure we're using a person-centered planning strategy, making sure we coordinate with families, using self-determination. And one of them is using transition planning to focus on community-based instruction. So for our exam, you want to focus on when we are creating this transition plan with students, we want to make sure that we give them opportunities to have experience and instruction in their communities, whether that's we're going with them and we're helping them learn how to shop in a grocery store, use a bank, use public transportation, all those things like that. That's really about the transition within the community.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions from anyone?
And,
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll hang out here for a little bit. If you want to ask more questions, feel free to ask me more questions. If you have any questions that come up within the next couple weeks, just email me. We can always, if you need to set up a time to talk like this, we can do that too. But if you need me preparing for the exam, just reach out to me. If you need anything with preparing your presentation for checkpoint 4, just reach out to me as well. And I will post that date that I need your recordings or your presentations by. And I'll try to find some resources with instructions, maybe that you can use if you need them on uploading videos or recording your screen or things like that, okay? All right, if you need anything, please reach out to me, okay, guys?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thanks so much.
Thanks, you too.
Hey, I have a question for you. I thought I read somewhere that you work for Jackson.
I do, yeah.
Are you guys going remote? I heard something about maybe you guys going remote.
So here's our plan right now. So we will be going remote, not because of like COVID spread, but because staffing is so horrible right now and we have no substitutes.
Oh, gotcha.
So let me stop